I want to tell you about a boy named Eyad. He was 11 years old, and he and his family had just moved from Sudan all the way to this beautiful, quiet city called Calgary in Canada. Imagine it. At night, the whole city would just sparkle with lights, and in the winter, well, a soft white blanket of snow covered just about everything.
So we're starting with Eyad, and he's wondering, will Ramadan feel the same in his brand new home? Because, even with all this new, beautiful stuff to see around him, his heart was still holding on to the warmth of his old neighborhood, all those miles and miles away back in Sudan.
So picture this. One really cold night, Eyad is just watching the snow fall outside his window, so softly. And as he's watching, this feeling, a kind of homesickness, I guess, just washes over him. And that's when he turned to his mother, because he had a question on his mind.
He said, Ya Ummi, that means my mother, and his voice was just filled with this hope. He asked her, what are we going to prepare for Ramadan this year? Is it going to be the same as it was in Sudan?
His mother just smiled this really gentle smile. You could tell she was thinking of her own memories too. Ramadan is not in the place, my son, she told him so softly. It lives in the heart. And then she said, but come on, let's go back in our memories. Let's remember Ramadan in Sudan.
And just like that, we're in a memory of Sudan. We're remembering the warmth and the joy of Ramadan back in Khartoum. Because the preparations for the holy month, well, they always started days before it even arrived, and the whole house would just be buzzing with excitement.
I can just see it now. His grandmother, she'd bring out these special embroidered cloths just for Ramadan and clean them so carefully. Then his aunts would hang these colorful lights in absolutely every corner. The whole house just transformed, It became this beautiful painting of light and happiness. But Eyad's favorite part? Oh, for sure. It was going with his grandmother to the neighborhood market. He'd proudly carry the bags filled with all the ingredients, feeling like he was a really important part of making all that Ramadan magic happen.
And then, when that first sunset of Ramadan finally arrived, wow, the whole family would gather around the iftar table. First, they'd break their fast with dates and water, and then came all the delicious, authentic Sudanese dishes. We're talking savory stews like asida and fool, that crispy ta'amia, and fresh salat al-rab. The table was just an explosion of amazing colors and smells, and you could feel the peace and gratitude in everyone's hearts.
But the night wasn't over, not by a long shot. After iftar, everyone would gather in the living room, sipping on these sweet Ramadan drinks, like hulumar and karkadeh. They'd all watch their favorite TV show. It was called Agani wa Agani, and the best part was listening to their grandpa sing along to all the old classic songs. His voice was just so full of nostalgia, a really special time.
And a little later, Eyad and his brothers would walk with their grandfather to the mosque just down the street for the nightly Tarawih prayer. And you just have to imagine it, all of them walking together under a sky just filled with twinkling stars.
Okay, so now the memory starts to fade, and suddenly Eyad is back in his home in Calgary. But here's the thing, the warmth of that memory, it sparked an idea. A really great idea.
He just blurts it out, full of excitement. We can do the same thing here. And you should have seen his mother's face. It totally lit up.
So, the very next day, they got right to work. No waiting around. They decorated their new house with strings of lights, they spread out those familiar Ramadan cloths, and they even made their own paper lanterns, just like they would have back home. The new Ramadan plan was officially in motion.
Next up was a journey for ingredients. Eyad went with his mom to the supermarket there in Calgary. And yeah, it was pretty different from the bustling open-air market in Khartoum, with its clean, modern aisles. But guess what? They found everything they needed. The flour for the asida, the dates, every single one of the right spices.
So when the first day of Ramadan finally arrived in Canada, Eyad's mother got busy in the kitchen. And it wasn't long before the whole house, the entire house, was filled with those familiar, comforting smells of home. You could just smell the asida cooking on the stove and the ta'amia frying up to this perfect golden, crispy brown. And at sunset, they all sat around their table in Calgary. Just like in Sudan, they broke their fast with dates and water. They ate the exact same food, they said the same prayers, and they shared the same happy smiles. It honestly felt like a little piece of Khartoum was right there in the room with them.
And when it was time for the Tarawih prayer, well, instead of going to the mosque, they all just stood together right there in their living room. They prayed as a family, and the sound of their voices filled their quiet new home with this incredible, deep sense of peace and closeness.
So, during those nights, with the snow falling silently outside the window, something really important started to click for Eyad. He was starting to understand the true meaning of it all.
He realized his mother was absolutely right. The real spirit of Ramadan wasn't tied to a specific place, or a country, or even a neighborhood. Nope. It was in the love, the faith, and the togetherness that his family shared. And it didn't matter one bit where in the world they were.
Because really, Ramadan isn't limited by borders. It just grows wherever hearts come together in love and faith. And so, just like that, their little house in Calgary became its own little piece of Sudan, just pulsing with warmth and family and light.
Wow, what a beautiful story. Eyad really taught us something special there, didn't he? Okay, to wrap things up, let's have a little fun with some riddles. Are you ready? Here's the first one. Who am I? I am a blessed month where people fast during the day and gather at sunset. What do you think?
If you said Ramadan, you are absolutely right. It's Ramadan. Okay, ready for riddle number 2? Here we go. Who am I? I am a special prayer in Ramadan, and people pray me at night after the evening prayer. What am I called?
You got it. That's the Tarawih prayer. All right, last one. Who am I? I am a crispy, golden food made from beans, and Eyad's family absolutely loves to eat me at iftar. What could I be? Yes, if you guessed Tamiya, you're a total food expert. Well done. And thank you so much for joining us for Eyad's beautiful story of Ramadan.